Hi, I'm Bernadette Doyle. You are watching Client Magnets TV, and we're doing something a little fun for the next couple of episodes. We're doing something I'm called Lessons from Necker, because I'm just back from an amazing trip to Necker Island, Richard Branson's private island, where I was joining him along with 28 other business owners. And it was just incredible week and learned so much on so many levels, and I really wanted to share it here with you through these videos. So one of the things I was really curious to learn from Richard, and I asked him a question about how he handles obstacles, because it strikes me from reading his books that he has been in situations many times in his life where his back was against the wall. And his answer surprised me, because he didn't talk about business. He actually talked about when he was crossing the Pacific in a balloon ride, and shared some details about that journey that I knew it was hairy, but I didn't realise quite how close to death he was on that trip. In fact, what they realised was they basically lost their jet fuel for the balloon, and they realised they had on numbers a 2% chance of survival. Because they needed to be crossing the Pacific at a certain speed. I think they needed to be crossing at 160 miles an hour, and they were only crossing at 80 miles an hour. So one can only imagine what it's like to be in a situation where you're on your own with one other person traveling with you in that situation, and on paper, 2% chance of survival. But I think what Richard did next and what they did next is an incredible lesson for all of us running businesses, or even just facing adversity in life, because they knew they had no choice but to fight for survival. And actually, Richard used that word. He said, in situations like that, you've just got to focus and fight. Focus and fight. So they got really focused, and if they had a 2% chance, they were going to go for that 2%. And they managed to get themselves into a jet stream, and suddenly the balloon was moving ahead at 250 miles an hour. And incredibly, they did cross the Pacific. They didn't land exactly where they were expected to. They were expecting to land in LA. They were 3,000 miles adrift. They landed in Alaska. Unfortunately, they only had clothes for LA, so that was a bit awkward. But even that, I thought, they achieved their goal, even if they didn't end up exactly where they wanted to. But there's so many lessons in that story, but the piece that really struck home for me is I thought, how many people just give up too soon? Like, if someone came to you today and said, okay, looking at your business, looking at everything that's going on, looking at the economic climate, looking at what's going on in your industry, we basically give your business, 2% chance of survival over the next 12 months. What would you do? Would you just roll over and go, oh, okay then, and give up? Would you give up on your dream? Because when you give up on your dream, what you're really doing is you're giving up on yourself. And so, I just want to challenge you today is to be really honest about how soon you give up. I work with many business owners. I help them with different product launches and campaigns and development in their business. And, I know, like Richard Branson knows, like every successful business owner knows, it's not always success. Like sometimes it gets tough. But what I believe is those tough spots, the spot where your back is against the wall and, there is only that minimal chance of survival, that defines the winners and the losers. What you do, what you think, what you say to yourself, the decisions you make, and how you act from that spot, that is what makes the difference. So this is a really special message today for anybody that's sort of feeling that you're in that place, and maybe you're facing an adversity. And I truly hope that Richard's example and what I've shared here can inspire you to find the focus inside of yourself and find the fight. What you started, what you're involved in, you started for a good reason. Don't give up just because the going gets tough. So I hope you enjoyed that tip, and please join me next week for another lesson from Necker.